May we now call upon the Honorable Mr. Justice Robert Tang, former Chairman of IPCC, to deliver the keynote address. Mr. Tang, please.
Chairman, Tony, my good friend, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. When I spoke at the IPCC Symposium in May 2014, I highlighted the transformation of the public perception of the police force since 1974. From a police force which was deeply marred by corruption and all the evils which flow from it, to a force which could compare with the best in the world. IPCC played an important part in the transformation, together with the government, CAPO, the police force, and the ICAC. We were greatly assisted by the policy of zero tolerance against any police misconduct adopted by successive commissioners of police. Complaints of police misconduct are dealt with carefully and fairly. Depending on the circumstances, disciplinary proceedings and prosecution and conviction may result from complaints. That is as one would expect in a society ruled by law. When we think about the rule of law, the first thing which springs to mind is a judiciary. That is natural because all disputes are finally resolved by the courts, on whose decisions we depend. But final decisions of the courts are not worth the papers they are written on unless they are obeyed and enforced. That is why acceptance and support by the community as a whole is essential. Acceptance and support by the weak and defenseless should not surprise. But the litmus test for the rule of law is support by the strong and powerful. We're lucky in Hong Kong that the Hong Kong SAR government respects and supports the rule of law. The police play an important role in the rule of law. We relied on them to maintain law and order, to prevent crime, protect law-abiding citizens, apprehend criminals, and to enforce the court's orders. One could not be confident about the administration of criminal justice if the police are not competent, neutral, and honest. A competent, neutral, and honest police force is essential to the rule of law. I believe many will agree with me that our police compare well with the best in the world. But that does not mean there are no bad apples. That is why we have the IPCC, CAPO, and the ICAC, and why successive commissioners have adopted a policy of zero tolerance for any misconduct in the police. Today, I wish to talk about police impartiality or neutrality because of its importance to the rule of law. This is not a new topic. I talked about it in 2014. In my speech on that occasion, I quoted what Mr. Jett, who was then chairman, said in the 2012-2013 report of IPCC. He said, "Controversy about the neutrality of the police has been a hot topic in public discussion. But perhaps the question of police neutrality has become more important because of the Occupy Central movement. The feelings engendered by the Occupy Central movement are strong and have divided friends and families. Differences of opinion are common in Hong Kong, where we have long enjoyed the freedom of expression and conscience. We respect different views, even views with which we profoundly disagree. It is not a Hong Kong way to attribute base or bad motives to people who hold a different view. If we change that, we change Hong Kong fundamentally. I believe the rule of law can only thrive in an atmosphere where different views can be aired and respected. Mr. Larry Kwok, who took over from Mr. Jett a few months before the Occupy Central movement, said in the 2016-2017 report, and I quote, I assumed office as the IPCC chairman in 2014. From then on, the Council has experienced with the public a number of public order events and changes in social climate. We have written about the impacts and challenges of the Occupy movement and the Mong Kok riot. As a matter of fact, the IPCC upholds its core values of independence and impartiality with poise, while staying true to its evidence-based principle, and never gives any rush opinion or comment on any social event or individual complaint case. End of quote. These core values of independence and impartiality are important, not just to the IPCC, but to the police as a whole. These core values are essential for public confidence and trust, and without them, the rule of law will be imperiled. I'm also glad that the Commissioner's zero tolerance for police misconduct continues. Zero tolerance means that the Commissioner will not tolerate any deviation from independence and impartiality. Impartiality or neutrality is important for confidence in the IPCC and the police. Nobody should be treated differently because of his or her political belief. Nor should police misconduct against a person because of his or her political belief be treated differently. Indeed, it is important that no one should even unwittingly give such impression. We treasure freedom of expression and conscience. Ours is a tolerant society. But when it comes to misconduct, whether by the police or anyone else, I commend that we adopt the Commissioner's policy of zero tolerance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tang, and please take a seat on the stage first.